Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to take a look at the transformation boost extreme super battle road stage. So this is a relatively new Esbr stage, obviously part of the new batch, and overall it's probably one of the easier ones just because transformation boost has quite a large category. And a lot of the units in Transformation Boost are very powerful. One of the strategies that we're going for is we're going for a more Wicked Bloodlines focused Sworn Enemies team. And we're going to kind of work off of that. We're going to use the power of the full power Planet Namek Saga Frieza. And he's going to be a very big part of where we get a lot of our big damage from. So in terms of this, pretty straightforward team build. We're rocking double Planet Namek Freezers, the full power versions, the AGL ones. We've got the transforming tech Frieza, who recently got his EZA as well, obviously with the download celebration. We then also rocking the free-to-play physical Frieza, which, you know, he's a bit weak defensively, but he still does a really good AoE damage, especially with his Link set. We then also have the third form Sworn Enemies support Frieza, and then we also have the golden form Frieza as well. So we have a pretty powerful team, very solid team, very good team in the form of damage, and we have a very solid foundation of links upon which to work. So overall, we have a really solid team with a really good foundation to work off of, and so everything looks like it's going to be just fine in terms of team build. As you can see here, we're pairing up the third form Frieza with one of the full power Freezers, where they're going to be pairing up the transforming Frieza with one of the other Freezers as well. So we'll definitely be doing that, but overall, you know, it's a pretty straightforward lineup. The full power Frieza is going to be the one that's doing the majority of the damage. He, like, with his, you know, mega colossal modifier on both his 12 and 18 key, he has no real drop off in his damage, and the fact that he can get multiple super attacks pretty easily and has high enough defense to sit in that first slot, he's a very good unit. So he's going to be carrying a lot of the workload. I'm not going to like sit here and lie. He's definitely going to be carrying like the majority of the workload as a unit, but we definitely will be getting some work out of the other units. So for the most part, we'll be relying on the full power Frieza, but we will get some good damage out of the tech transforming Frieza, and we'll get some out of the LR Frieza as well, who shares a decent link set with both Freezers, but you know, it's just going to depend on what we're facing at the time. But the LR Frieza is going to do some good damage as well, so we'll be keeping him on the rotation. Yeah, we've got the transforming Frieza. We have plenty of good options here. Fortunately, the Prime Battle Frieza is a fantastic free-to-play option, and the physical AoE second form Frieza is also a pretty good free-to-play option. So we actually have two very good free-to-play options that we can utilize in this team, which is honestly a very good thing to do. Obviously, it requires us to have the full power AGL Frieza, so if you don't have him, you are going to be having a slight problem, but for the most part, he is obviously quite recent. So if you don't have him, some alternative ones you can use is you can still use the transformation boost lead in the form of Strength Cooler. He'll be perfectly fine for this team. You can use a Wicked Bloodlines lead. You can use anything like that to run this exact team here. Alternatively, you can obviously run, you know, something else under transformation boost. Fusion has very good quality transformation boost units. So does Pure Saiyans as well, so it's just going to depend on what angle you want to go with it. But for the most part, you can run a lot of different varieties of teams. The reason why I go for an extreme based team is obviously just we have a lot of buffs in this team in terms of facing superclass enemies. The team has great synergy in terms of all the different links between the Frieza units, and so for the most part it's just a very powerful team for ESBR and SBR stage. It also carries some healing and also just does some very solid damage. So it's definitely something that we can utilize quite easily, and it's something that we're going to be able to utilize for the most part to clear out this stage. So yeah, obviously in this exact stage we're fighting Android 18 and 17. So 2 enemies, obviously a little bit stronger than the 3 enemies we faced previously. We're going to focus on the Android 18 first. No real specific reason. I guess if we want to argue reasoning, we could say because we want to get rid of her because of our strength full power Frieza. But for the most part, honestly, it's probably better to take out the Android 17 first, as that will then, you know, protect the multiple int units we have. But either way, it's not too big a deal. We should be able to take her out relatively quickly, and then we can move on to the Android 17, and we should be able to handle him quite quickly as well. You can see the massive damage from the full power Frieza really does carry the workload. No matter what, if you're going for a Wicked Bloodlines based team, you definitely want to bring the Frieza, because it's going to do a lot more work for you than any other lead. So even if you're running a cooler transformation boost lead, you definitely want to run the Frieza. He's going to be doing the most work for you, and so you, like as I always suggest, just definitely make sure that you focus in on that, and then that should get you the damage that you need. 1 Frieza, obviously not as good as 2 Friezas, but generally speaking, especially if you can get or find a friend Frieza that has multiple dupes, then you should be more than fine and ready to go. So you can see here, we always make sure that we place Frieza in the first slot, especially when he has the ability to get hit by an attack before he fires off his attack. It's honestly really going to help us out, because whenever he gets hit before he fires his super attack, he will be firing off a second super attack. So that's obviously very helpful overall. So there we go. Fires off his first super attack, gets some really good damage in on Android 17. He's going to fire off his second super attack. If you have multiple dupes in Frieza, you are going to have the ability to crit, which is going to dramatically improve his overall offensive damage. Third super attack as well, really great. Just doing huge damage right here. I think that's in total close to 12 million in attack stats, and probably roughly pretty close. I mean, we're seeing there about 4.5 million in damage, so really solid attack numbers there. And yeah, just doing a lot of good work. Obviously we took a lot of damage there because we don't have any damage reduction active, but Frieza's defense now is so high, even in only the second stage of his transformation, and with the Android 8 active, generally he had high enough defense that wasn't really the biggest concern to us. So we're more than happy to take on that situation. This is where full power Frieza is really going to benefit us. So obviously in this situation here, we are in a perfect situation because Frieza is AGL type. So not only does he obviously have a type advantage in terms of taking damage, but he has a type advantage in terms of dishing damage, which is very important, because it just means that we're going to be able to do really huge damage to this Gohan, who for most situations is actually very threatening, because Gohan, he is very threatening because he's obviously a single unit, as you guys know, in ESBR and SBR. When you're doing the stage, whenever there's more units than one unit, generally speaking, they are weaker. Whenever there are units that are, like less. So if there's one unit, generally it's stronger than like if there's 2 units. And these stages that have these super strong final units, the biggest fear is just getting one-shot KO'd by them. So generally you either have to bunker down and bring lots of utility, or you can just DPS them out within the use of your items, which is what we're going to be able to do with the power of Frieza. just because of how much damage he does do, like as a unit in general. So that's our strategy. That's because we have the double full power Frieza build, and with this massively lowering attack and defense from the strength Frieza, we're also obviously going to decrease Gohan's damage quite a bit. We have the item active, we have support on the rotation, so we should see some pretty decent damage. Again, we want to make sure we have Frieza in the first slot because Gohan's firing an attack. So because he's firing an attack, we're going to be able to get multiple attacks off, and then we should be able to do some really big damage to Gohan, which is always fantastic. So you can see there the first attack, we'll definitely be getting at least 2 attacks here. These all have type advantage, so they're going to be doing some really big damage to Gohan. You can see there again. It can just show you how much health Gohan has, that he's literally surviving. I think this is the 6th full power Freezer attack. So, no, sorry, the 5th. Yeah, so, but he's still surviving, like, a lot of the full power Freezer attacks. Like, this has been multiple attacks from a unit with type advantage that's hitting 4 million every single time, and managed to get a crit. So, some pretty decent, just shows you how much health this Gohan actually has. I mean, again, another 4 million crit. I think we got a 5 million crit on the strength, full power, sorry, the strength Prime Metal Frieza. So you can just see how much health Gohan has. It's pretty ridiculous, like, overall. But what we'll do is we'll finish him off with the active skill. Obviously, again, this is another perk of full power Frieza, bringing in this active skill. The way it just can finish off units or provide an extra boost in damage when they are low is fantastic. So we'll be utilizing his active skill here, and we'll be able to finish off Gohan. So pretty straightforward. Obviously this team build is very good for the stage. So if you guys have any comments or you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments down below. Otherwise, if you enjoyed the video, as always, you can leave a like on the video. But if you do have any questions, please leave them down there. Otherwise, as always, I hope you guys stay safe, take care, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, bye.